Okay, so here's one way that you can transfer if you have a printed photo of yourself onto your 9 by 12. And we're going to transfer over not only the contours, but also the different topographic shaded values. And we're doing 3 values. And you can certainly do more if you want to, but we are going to just do 3 in this demo video. So one of the things that I do want to start with is thinking about the placement of the photograph. And now I could certainly just put this right in the middle, but if I am thinking about maybe using the edge, so here's my Bristol paper. If I'm thinking about the edge and I'm thinking about a way that I am going to make an interesting composition where maybe I'm looking at my rule of thirds, right? I'm also thinking about my edge, then maybe I'm not going to put this directly in the middle and have like a kind of centralized static image. I can do that. For me, I would rather have this play a little bit with my rule of thirds. And if I am thinking about the thirds of my image, so this is 9. And I'm thinking of the intersection of these grids, these line grids, which are thirds of the 9 inches, and by 12 by 4 and 4. I'm thinking about where they intersect as kind of key points to help me place focus items or focus images so that my composition is overall not centralized, not bisected, which do tend to make static compositions. And I'm going to use these to help me asymmetrically balance my composition. So if I'm moving this around and I'm thinking of like my eye or any of these kind of like darker point areas, I would want to. So if I do this, I know that my eye kind of lands in the center, but the corner of my lip ends here. So do I want that, or am I willing to play around a little bit with how? So I think what is going to be interesting to me is to have this eye land at this point of intersection. So what it really ends up being is something like this. And I would like to, so essentially this part that falls off the Bristol is not part of my composition. And I can even just take my ruler and I'm seeing the Bristol kind of transparent through the image. And I want to say that is not part of my final composition. I don't even want to really think about it. And now this intersecting point here, this is where the corner of my Bristol would be. So I could just cut it off. I could just fold it back. And what I'm going to do is fold it back here to show you how it would fall on paper, on my Bristol. So it would really be like this. So if I'm thinking about my face as the terrain and all of the negative space as water, I would have like a big area of water. So while I'm designing, I can either juxtapose it with a different landmass, okay, if you will. Okay, this is like a younger, if I were to contrast it with like a younger version of me, I can definitely compose a juxtaposition. And for now, I'm gonna just think about this portrait. So in order to trace it over, here is something that you can take as an application from, where's my camera doing this? Sorry, everybody. Okay, there we go, better. As an application from SP1 class in which we did a grid on an image and we made another grid on the drawing paper or the drawing surface, and then we transferred over the contour lines and the shapes and the marks. So we can even do a 1 inch by 1 inch. Very quickly. And I'm gonna have my 1 inch marks going this way as well. And then just to avoid any kind of confusion, I would want to label along one edge alphabet, A, B, C, D, oh my goodness, E, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so it kind of creates a coordinate axes that I can relate and correlate to this one. So what I have here is I have up to E. So we're using this corner, A, B, C, D, E. And I may use more, I may need to make my grid larger, but for now, I'm gonna say that maybe I won't. So I won't worry too much about it. And drawing directly onto Bristol is going to help you because you can either work directly on here if you were painting and making flat colors, or if you were gonna do cut paper and you wanted to make like a nice stencils that you're gonna help to trace out shapes from your color paper. Okay, so we have that going, and then I have up to 1 through 9 on this edge. 9. Okay. Okay, and so we have this so far. Oh, my camera keeps tilting back. That's the sound of my hungry cat, who already ate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now we have correlating grids, the same exact grids. And I'm going to take this. And so if I'm looking at 1E, I see that I have this kind of contour here, which I've transferred over. And I'm going to continue down. And I will continue. But the other thing that we have to remember is that because this stencil project is asking you to work in 3 values or 3 flat colors, you do want to think about, if we're looking at a grayscale, here are your 3 tones. Because I have a black and white photo that I printed. Here's my grayscale. I would think about a light, medium, and dark tones. So dark tones is anything that's super dark. Light is anything that's like paper value or white or very, very light. And then their medium tones are anything that would be falling into the medium. So what we have to do is when we're looking at the photo, we have to kind of map out these shapes. So I know that all of this light value here, this is going to be all light. My nose, this is going to be all light. I have some dark values here, but I also have some medium values in here. So I have to really be decisive about whether this medium here would fall into the dark tones or would it fall into the medium tones. And as it is part of defining my eyebrow, I might choose to make it a dark tone. Otherwise, my face may look flatter and not define the depth or the volume or the form of the face. So let's start putting in, so we have C. I'm gonna just start to think about that light value in here. And what I'm doing is I'm following these kind of, so all of this is kind of like a light, the light part of my forehead. And I have, this is a light area. This is my dark area, so I can just shade it into just let you see a little bit better. That would be my dark. Here's another whole area of dark. This is medium. I'm gonna kind of just label it because it does get a little confusing. All of this here is, this is all dark. And then I have my medium values here again. 4. This would be my dark values. And remember that this intersection, my eyes would be here. So I have a little island of light here. So if I am going to use these as stencils and cut them out, I would need to leave a small area here connected this, so that this small island of white is connected to another area here. You can do it separately, but you may lose the piece. So you might have to just, if you do lose it, just keep in mind any negative space that you have left over would be a light patch. Okay, so this is all, let me get this light area here. This is a light. Here's another little island of light. So as I'm mapping this, I'm thinking, so this area here is obviously not as light as some of these areas, but because I have to decide if it's light enough, is it going to be a medium or a light tone? I'm going to go with a light tone here because I have so much area of medium around it that I need it to be medium. So dark area here. So this would also be light. Sometimes you may need to adjust as you go. This is all dark. Okay, and then we have the shape of my face here. This is what we have so far. So I'm gonna continue. And I know this is dark here. So basically anything that's not really labeled is going to be my medium light. I'm going to do this other eye. So it helps you orient yourself with what you're looking at. So this is all dark. So the more detail you have, really, the more you are going to be able to read your face. And this would be even if it wasn't a map. This is even as just a drawing. There's a dark area. My nostrils, dark. And sometimes I really don't know, should it be really super a dark area here or should it be a medium? And when I squint my eyes at it, I really do see that actually all of this area here is really a dark area. And it helps to define the contours of my face. Wait a minute. And if you make a mistake, it's all good. So maybe it would be like this. Maybe this will stay a medium. It's a dark area. So listen, if you ignore the grid, you're going to do what I just did, which is I drew it in the wrong place and it will stretch out my face in the wrong way. I see that the bottom of my lip doesn't hit that line there yet. Light. Dark area. So all of this is kind of dark. And I'm thinking that this whole side of my face will just have to be, I'm okay with it being in shadow. So essentially all the dark areas would kind of be one shape, it could be, you could think of it as one shape or one paper color or flat color rather. And my eyes. I'm okay with this part of my eyebrows being dark. To make sure that this is dark here also. So we got, this is a medium, this is my light. The little island of light. And I think this area here, which is not quite as light again as my nose, but because I need the other contrasting medium here, I'm gonna have to make this part of the light shade. I'm gonna be a little bit just more discerning though, with the shape that I am gonna cut out. So we have light, these are all, this would be, I'm gonna make this little corner here dark shadow. Okay, so hopefully you can see from the drawing here that I've made what those shapes will look like. Okay, so this is how to transfer it over.